This is Water Elemental.
And this is Axis.
This is the champion overview for week 25, December 28, 2010.
The champions we have for this week are Alistar, Ashe, Cassiopeia, Galio, Heimerdinger, Kennen, Olaf, Tristana, Veigar, and Zilean. Starting off this week with Alistar. Alistar is a tank I've talked about a little bit. He's a decent tank. He's got a lot of staying power in the lane. He's got low mana costs. He's got very good CC, both with his knockback and his knockup. He can be very good at controlling when you get them in the right position. It's just getting them in that right position, which is the difficult part. His ultimate is great for tower diving, and his passive also helps with that tower diving. He's incredibly good at beating down those towers very, very quickly, as long as you're tactical about it. But his ultimate has a very strong visual cue, which will discourage opponents from attacking you, which is why I don't really like Alistar as a tank. Because as soon as that ult pops up, most of the time, even if they were focusing you, they will switch off because there's just no reason to focus him when he's got that much damage reduction. That said, Alistar is incredibly durable, and of course his laning phase, he gets incredible returns off of his roar, which gives back HP to everyone around him. Slightly less, and without Locket, it's not quite as good. You can't really stack that HP regen as much as you did, but it is still a very effective item. And that's really Alistar. He's a fair tank, but requires a lot of position awareness and just map awareness in general, and if you're going to push those towers effectively.
Next we have Ashe. Ashe we talk about all the time.
Yes, we do.
If you've never listened to anything else, you probably won't know what Ashe is. Ashe is a great starting range champion. She has a lot of slowing capabilities as well as a lot of long-range harassment. Great for kiting. Can farm a lot of gold with her hawk shot as well as also scout with it. And just kind of keeps good map awareness. She can use her ultimate, hit people across the map. And she has a bow and arrow and she's hot. That's pretty much about it.
That's what you want to go with.
Hey, I'll review them to episodes 1 through 19 if they need to talk about. Okay,
yeah, pretty much. Cassiopeia is a champion I talked about. A lot of people compare her to Karthus, not Arthas. She's not the Lich King.
Your soul is mine.
But upon playing Cassiopeia, I realized something. She plays a lot more like Urgot than she plays like Karthus, and I'll explain my reasoning. Noxus Hunter chains into his Flesh Hunter ability. So he hits him with that barrage, and then he starts chaining his missiles together. Well, Cassiopeia plays in the same way. She hits with her snake little trap, and then she starts chaining Twin Fangs together. But she has more late-game viability than Urgot, because her ultimate is an AoE stun rather than a channeled position swap, and it has a slow aspect to it, as well as doing a pretty hefty amount of damage. Now, the reason she does much better than Urgot is because her damage scales better. Twin Fangs is great. It's massive early game damage. And it's very, very good, especially if you're managed to train them on an opponent. It's a lot of damage they don't expect. Just similar to Urgot's little Flesh Hunter ability, Acid Hunter.
Acid Hunter.
It does a lot of damage successfully over time, and it tracks. Well, Cassiopeia is the same way, that deals a lot of damage. But late game, the ability ratio on it is just terrible. It's really, really bad. So you end up getting more damage out of her dot, her little AoE snake trap thing. And then it goes the same with her AoE poison slow, the little noxious area. They both do a lot of damage, and you can train a lot of AoE dots on people, which is paired with Ignite is just fantastic. You do that with her ult, you line up your combo, and you get all your dots on them. Even if they chase you, even if they run away, they're still in that little noxious area, and they will die. It's a very good unexpected DPS combo. A lot similar to, let's say, a character like Lux or another champion that can set up their combo when an enemy is right up in their face. It's a lot of unexpected damage out of Cassiopeia. And of course, who can argue with an AoE stun and an AoE slow?
Yeah.
Next we have Galio. Galio is a tank that for a long time was played AP. because his ratios were very, very high. They have been nerfed, and as such, he has fallen back more into the traditional AP tank sort of motif. He scales very well with resistances, and he gets a lot of use out of his ultimate in that it's an AoE taunt, and he deals an excessive amount of damage. He's a great chaser champion, and he's a great escaping champion, but other than that, because his only real CC is his ultimate, the slow is an AoE, but it's kind of hard to set up at times. It's not the best thing to depend on. So as far as a very durable tank, he's fair. As far as a controlling tank, he's fair, but as far as chasing and an escaping tank, there's no better one in the business. So if you're looking for a tank that can get you into team fights very quickly and get you out of team fights very quickly, he's one to go with.
Next we have Heimer. Heimer is a support in his in kind of the perspective of the 3 different types, but he's his own character. He has his own turrets. He has a stun, snare, blind, depending on how close you are to his radius of his AoE, and he has dummy fire rockets that hit a good 2 or 3 targets. Is it 2 or 3 or is it?
You get more per level.
Yeah. So it hits targets. So he's a great character if you're looking for a different playstyle. He's the man alien thing for a job. But what makes him great is he doesn't really, excel in the category of either tanking. He sets up a base, defends that little area, and he's able to kind of position the rest of the team to push forward, push back, kind of stabilize a certain area of the map. Great for 5s if you're going to push a lane and you know that minions are coming or groups coming. He can set up his turrets and push forward.
Definitely not a good champion for 3s, though.
I've seen a lot of people try to play him in 3s, and it rarely works out well. I've actually played a ranked 5s game where we had a Heimer as a tank, though. So you never know what you can expect from this guy. I don't know how he was a tank, though.
Anybody can be a tank with the right resistances, but some are better than others.
He was putting out massive damage, but
well,
it's all in the build. But yeah, he's a great champion if you're looking for a new experience, and if you want one of those characters that has minions and kind of a strategic basis to him, he's your man.
Next up, we have Kennen. Kennen is a champion you can play in one of 2 ways. He can be built kind of AS, AD, or he can be built AP. The preferred method is, of course, AP. You get more damage out of his ult. You get more damage out of each one of his individual abilities. While AS/AD is a little bit more procky, and you kind of have to position yourself right in your ultimate. You're not going to get too terribly much out of it. But it still doesn't discourage it completely. It's still a very effective build that you can go with. Though the preference is, of course, for AP. He's got a very strong early game in that he can put a lot of harassment damage with his lightning shurikens. It deals not terribly much damage, but enough to harass people away. And of course, if you get that 3 marks of the storm on him, you can get a stun, you can get a couple of pot shots in on him. It's great when you're paired with, let's say, a physical champion with a good charge, like let's say a Garen or a Zinio. You can get that stun off, and they can get in there and do the hefty amount of damage while you set up the stun combo. So Kennen is still an effective solo, but with a good lane mate, with a good initiating lane mate, you can do wonders. Just like a lot of people with range stuns. Kennen is sort of a hybrid, kind of like all 3 tanks. She benefits very much from AD, or rather he does, from AD and AP. So I don't discourage the fact that all of his abilities have AP coefficients that you can only build that way. So Kennen, be a multi-threat if you build him properly. Just make sure you have a perceptive team that will use your stuns and your ultimate, especially with items like Zanya's, to its fullest potential.
Next we have Olaf. Some people consider him a tank, some people don't. He's more of a great jungler, great burst damage champion. He is great for 1v1s. He gains additional damage while he's weakened, which is great, especially if you're fighting a Mundo or something where you both are just going to deal more damage the harder you're hit, and he just brings out that extra burst. He has a skill shot slow, as well as it refreshes when you find little axe on the ground. He has life stealing. He has a flat amount of damage and maximum health, as well as spell vamp. Great activated ability if you're running low on mana and you're able to pop it, especially with a lot of attack speed. It can boost up your health, keep you in the fight longer. He has a great true damage ability True damage is very nice, especially since we have a lot of magic resist and a lot of
Armor.
He pierces right through it. He's a great character if you just want to burn people down. His ultimate reduces all CC, reduces all the, jib jab and crap.
Jib jab?
Making up words. This is where people think he's a tank because he reduces incoming damage, but it's its ultimate, so he can't really tank until level 6 if they want to build him like that.
Well, technically he can tank just because he's very effective with vicious strikes. When he's fighting somebody, he can get that health back very quickly when in the face of death.
Yeah, that's true. But mostly people play him,
as
damage.
a tanky DPS or a
Yeah.
jungler.
But personally, I play him AP or AD, not AP.
AP.
AP, it boosts his true damage. No, it doesn't. That's not what happens. I build him with a lot of attack speed and a lot of attack damage. Try to put a little bit of cooldown reduction in there just to top things off, but I don't go overboard.
Why not?
Well, too much cooldown reduction doesn't give me much damage, does it? Next is Tristana. Tristana is another good ranged character. Her passive increases her range over time. If you're used to her, you kind of get used to having a lot of range, so early game you just want to make sure how far you can hit. It's kind of, you base that off how you're going to engage enemies. She has a great initiator with their rocket pack, also a great way to jump over buildings and a great way to jump over people and stun people. She has a great attack speed, activated ability, and she has a great dot as well as a great knockback, only if you know how to use it wisely. Don't just jump into a fight and knock people back. Try to time your abilities by taking your rocket jump over the enemy, and knock them towards the rest of your friends. That's a great strategy to help your teammate keep a guy in their sights as well as kind of harass.
Das is true. Next we have Veigar. Veigar is the late game mage for this week. He's not going to be terribly overpowered because a lot of the free champions this week are AD based, but against Zilean, Kennen, other Veigars, Heimerdinger, Cassiopeia, and sometimes you might get lucky and maybe you'll get an AP Alistar. It's unlikely, but it does happen. Or an AP Galio for that matter. And you can put out a hefty amount of damage. Even against physical attackers, the full damage from a spell combo is nothing to be gawked at. Especially if they try and tower dive you. Like, you can set up your ring of stun, and when they try and go for it, set off your spell combo, and they're dead. They're just dead. Veigar is a champion that scales very, very well with magic penetration. So get some magic pen runes, get some magic pen mastery, get some magic pen items, boots, and a haunting guise with the magic pen mastery, and maybe 10 out of your runes. Will do wonders. It'll counter most everybody's magic resistance. So really think about it. Then you have to shout the cash for a rod. Not a rod, but a staff of magic piercing. And then, you don't have to worry too much about it. And then all of a sudden, your abilities go from dealing, 500 damage apiece to 1,000 damage apiece. And all of a sudden, you're burning through health rather fast. He's a good champion to have with items like Deathfire's Grasp. If you're afraid that you're not going to be able to get your spell combo off more than once, definitely an item to help you set up. You put that off, then you stun, drop your whole AoEs. One of the best things about Veigar so far I've noticed, Flash does not pop our ultimate anymore. Oh, it was so good. I was so happy when I saw that. That was the worst thing on Veigar is you pop your spell combo, they flash, and all of a sudden your ultimate just, boop, it pops, and just nothing happens. Now people can't flash out, and you get the kills you deserve so long on Veigar. That was one of the best things. So if you were always pissed off about that playing Veigar, go try it out. Go get those kills against those scrubby melee carries you've always wanted to get. Well, unless they have Hexdringer, then you're SOL.
Last but not least is Zilean.
DJ Zill in the house!
We get to do this every time.
He's Jihad Light, man.
Yeah, like we say, he's a good character. He's a great supporting character. He doesn't have a lot of too much combat potential, but what he does have is explosive. Literally. He has bombs, time bombs. You can be used on your enemies, allies, friends, sisters, brothers, girlfriends. Put it on someone, have them run in, blow up. It's great if you're going to have like a Garen or something. He goes on, you pop it on him. He catches up with him, spins around, the bomb explodes, more damage to you. He also has a speed increase or decrease depending on who you use it on. He also has a great cooldown reduction on his ability, so you're able just to constantly put out damage, or you constantly put out speed, like a drug dealer. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore.
Neither do I. What are you doing?
I don't know. And finally, his ultimate, which kind of shines, is his great revival. It's his personal targeting guardian angel. Don't get picky with it. Don't save it for yourself. If a friend needs it, use it. Time it just right. It can get some good kills out. People will sometimes expect it. Some people don't. When they don't expect it, it helps a bunch. Especially since if there's a 2v1 going on and your friend comes in, helps you, he died, you bring him back to life, and he's healed and they're going to die.
It is a significant time delay as well between when they die and when they res. A lot of times, the DPS will just stick around waiting for the character to res so they can try and kill him again. This is something you can take advantage of if you're trying to escape from a team fight and you think they got you all. If you pop it on one guy, they might wait around and try and get that one guy when he reses, and the rest of you can get away, and it might give you a chance to regroup. Or if you get ganked, you can pop it on yourself, and while they're waiting for you to pop back up, your teammates can come help you out. So there's a lot of uses for it tactically if you really think about it.
Yeah, but that's pretty horrible. You know, you have your friend and he's trying to help you and he dies, and then you're just going to be a jerk and then bring him back to life so he dies again. You know, and then he's going to be blamed for feeding. But if it can get you backdoor, keep people there long enough for group attack, it's fine.
Yes, use it tactically, but don't be a miser with it. That's what we'll say. And that's really it for champions this week. Check us out at D2D. We're at the bottom of there. You can send us emails, anything on our Facebook, Kill Cams. Happy to hear from you guys. We know this isn't the most watched bit, but if you have any strats, builds, or anything really effective for the champions this week, please post them below. Happy to see them.
This has been Water Elemental.
And this has been Axis, and you guys have a great day.
And New Year's.
And
see you in 2011.
Yeah, see you guys 2011. It's been great. It's been a great year. It's been a great year. It's been a great Hanukkah for me, and Kwanzaa for you, right?
Solid.